We're live. Welcome back to another episode of the Dudecast. I'm Nick.
I'm JD.
And this is the theme song.
I always forget we have theme music.
I know. Well, because we haven't really, we've not edited any of these together yet.
Right.
So like this is still like the baby podcast. Like even though this is kind of nearing the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Like we're still kind of figuring out the flow and the editing and the release schedule, the timing.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we should probably do some like logo work or even just
Right.
portraiture or something of the two of us, maybe to put as a title card for the podcast. But
Might help.
yeah, right. Otherwise, it's just like a black background
Yeah.
with like Dudecast in like white. Like
Sometimes
Lost.
that works. Sometimes a simple. I did that with Beyond the Lens. I think I did that, and it worked well in a sense.
Okay.
I don't know if that's saying something about my looks or just the simplicity, because those logos are quite small on a phone, and people.
Well, yeah, exactly. You don't want to make anything too complicated, right?
Yeah.
And if you do, it'll be, as you said, it's on a phone. It's way too small to see. Sorry, I'm just waiting. This is telling me that the camera is acting funny. I think it's still recording. Yeah, no, it is. I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah.
Sorry. It loses connection sometimes. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about dude movies today.
Dude movies.
Yeah.
So what's your definition of a dude movie?
My
I feel that it's something that needs to be defined. Otherwise,
Fair.
when I start talking about the piano, that people are going to be like, that's not a dude movie.
Fair. Okay, so first off, the piano is not a dude movie. But to me, I feel like a dude movie is something that, in general, most dudes like. So
Right.
that's kind of the first rule. First rule of Fight Club. Second thing I look for in like a dude movie is some cool, like something cool about it. So
Right.
whether it's like, cool tech, like it's a sci-fi movie or something, or like Back to the Future where it's like you got the cool DeLorean, something like that. Or cool action where you've got a respectable or well-loved action star, think The Rock, think Bruce Willis, with the greatest Christmas movie ever made, that kind of thing, right? And then I think there should be some sort of takeaway from it, so like not a completely throwaway movie. You know what I mean? Like summer blockbusters are fun and fine, but if it's not something that actually has not necessarily, it doesn't have to have like a heart or like the emotional feels if you want to talk millennial, but some meat to it rather than just like a throwaway thing. So like the first thing that comes to my head when I say like dude movies, obviously, would be like The Big Lebowski. Right? Because obviously it has the dude, and to be perfectly honest, it's kind of where I thought about the title for the podcast from. Obviously not an action movie, not having like a huge crazy star, but it's got like this warm fuzzy center and kind of an interesting life lesson that you can pull away from it. So to me, that kind of makes a great dude movie. Because also it's something that many dudes like. We can get together, we can drink a beer, we can watch it, we can laugh. There's tons of stuff on many different levels. Obviously there's like some physical humor in it, but also some psychological humor, and interplay between different characters. So there's, different levels that you can enjoy that movie on. I don't know. That's the way I kind of think about it. What would you add or take away?
I don't know. Like, a lot of times when I hear the term dude movie, automatically my thought is action, right?
Right.
It's kind of a very male-centric cast. Sure. Or the focal point is definitely a male character.
But let's be honest, I love the ladies. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
But generally it's something that, people can attach to. So, typically when you talk about dude movies, things that pop into my head, if you're talking about Christmas dude movies, obviously Die Hard. Right. Is one of those films, right? The John McClane character, people, like that character. And I think a lot of times that, dude movies are, kind of characters that guys really kind of want to be. So
there you go.
John McClane, he's kind of a tough guy. He's comical. He's a bit of a smart ass. Against all odds.
Right.
You know, I'm pretty sure I'm not spoiling anything for anybody here. You know, other kind of, people that dudes will definitely go towards are guys like James Bond, especially in the past, James Bond, all the cool gadgets, always gets the girls, which usually tends to be another key component, I think, of dude movies.
For sure.
Or characters like Antonio Banderas in Desperado.
That's a good one, yeah.
So again, very actiony. They're very capable. If you take Desperado, he's a little bit romantic because he's a musician. The mariachi, has lost his wife, meets Selma Hayek. That all kind of goes and then kills everybody. So it's, again, probably not spoiling anything for anybody.
Right,
it's not like
been around for a while,
and it's not a terribly complicated plot line either.
Right. Fair.
So there's definitely all those kind of. Matt Damon's character, I'm going to forget what it is now, the spy one that he plays. They often compare it to the James Bond films.
See, now I'm drawing a blank
too.
Because Matt Damon's been in so many films,
Yeah.
but the one, what the heck is his name?
Because they bring that character back all the time. He's kind of like
he's
modern.
Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne, the Bourne Identity,
Yep.
So, I mean,
Bourne Identity.
those are all
Crisis.
kind of, dude.
I would say that those are dude movies for sure. And it not to say that like a dude movie can't be enjoyed by a woman, because this is getting like kind of outside the realm of the topic for the podcast today specifically, but I consider a dude as a it doesn't have to be gender based.
Right.
Like I look at dude as kind of a classification of person, not necessarily like it's a classification of personhood and kind of your general outlook on life.
Right.
A lot of it tends to be more guy centric because that's who I am, obviously. But I mean, a woman could be a dude and totally enjoy a dude movie.
So Kill Bill would be
I would
a
think
female lead role dude movie, right?
Yeah, 'cause she's kick ass.
Yeah.
You've got the revenge. You've got lots of blood, guts, gore, violence, action, cool dialogue, good music. I think good music fits as well as a requirement to be a dude movie. And it doesn't have to be like a crazy cinematic score. It could be like, awesome rock and roll, or you look at The Matrix, killer soundtrack, right? But very, well, at the time, that's 20 years ago now, right? But kind of like that electronic dance industrial kind of stuff, right? But what other ones was I thinking? I was just watching. Okay, so this might be debatable. I think it might. Well, I'll just say it. Chips,
right?
The redo that they did with Michael Pena and Dax Shepard, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. To be honest, it doesn't appeal to me. To me, Chips is like something that you watch on a Sunday while you're eating like hot dogs out of a can, like those little canned hot dogs,
Vienna
sausages, and like frozen French fries because you were too lazy to do anything else.
So you're talking about the reruns from the 70s. Though,
yeah.
obviously.
I mean that's what Chips like. I just
For sure.
So I think if there's going to be a movie, it's kind of it's kind of like what I guess 21 Jump Street as well, right?
Okay, yeah.
Sort of that remake. I don't think those translated very well, the 21 Jump Streets.
The 21 Jump Street I didn't see.
Yeah.
Chips, I will tell you, I think is actually much better than the TV series.
Right.
It's got a little bit of cheese in it, but not a lot. It's more of a buddy movie, to be completely honest. But it is a comedy. There's some good action. They've got a lot of Michael Bay style chase and explosion scenes.
Yeah.
Which to me kind of puts it into that category.
Yeah, so it's probably a lot designed. It's very, very similar to 21 Jump Street, and that's kind of what I don't like about it.
Oh, okay.
It's like the TV series had that element of cheese. It wasn't intentional.
Right.
It was just a product of the time and the style of
TV at that
TV
time,
they were doing. So you had like Chips, the Dukes of Hazzard,
Magnum PI.
Yeah, Magnum PI. So you had all these kind of, shows that were going, and they had that element of cheese because, completely unrealistic,
For sure.
High speed chases with, your Chips chopper down the, like highway chasing a big, 18-wheeler jumping off, and like that doesn't happen like that. It's like, okay, boys, let's call ahead, throw out the spike belt, end the episode.
Yeah, exactly. But that doesn't make good television or a good movie.
Right. So, so when they take these things and they adapt them for film, they kind of want to keep that, I for lack of a better word, maybe TV vibe, and they want
Right.
that kind of fun, whimsical, thing, and they kind of add in that cheese, knowing they're doing it.
Yeah.
But it's an intentional thing, and I always find it doesn't play very, very well.
Fair enough.
And they tend to make comedies out of them.
Yes.
Like more on the comedic side than the action side, which wasn't their intention either when they were on television.
On television it was not necessarily meant to be a comedy.
21 Jump Street was never a comedy.
No.
Chips was never really a comedy.
This one was definitely, like I said, it's kind of a buddy movie, and they use quite a lot of comedy to help move the story and to help endear the characters to you, I think. But it actually was a relatively serious plot and a relatively serious interactions between those two and then like their enemy. And I don't want to give anything away in case people haven't seen it, because it is a newer movie that not a lot of people have seen. But I would say definitely worth a watch, even if maybe just in the background while you're having a drink and doing something else. But it was very enjoyable. Okay,
so feel good buddy movies. I will make one point though. There are buddy movies that I would say are dude movies. If
like Dude, Where's My Car?
Well, not necessarily along that line.
More of a stoner movie,
but things like Lethal Weapon.
Okay,
right.
Yep.
So you got Riggs, you got Danny Glover's character, and they're not friends to start with, but it becomes that friendship throughout the whole entire franchise.
Yeah.
Becomes kind of a buddy movie and very action oriented.
Yeah.
There is comedy in there, but it's not.
And that's the way that they did Chips.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, I'm like, holy shit, that's what they were trying to do.
Did it come off as that though?
I feel like it did.
I'll have to see it before
you fully pass judgment.
I'm just kicking 21 Jump Street while it's down. That's all
I've never that one
here.
I didn't see, so I can't really comment.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So classic dude movies. Would you put The Godfather in a dude movie category? It's not action oriented, but
I would say no. When you start getting out, like I said, for me, it's very action kind of orientated, and it's light. It's not completely serious. Godfather, very kind of
definitely serious
tone, right? And to me, it starts getting into like a subgenres, kind of what you're looking at. It's like horror, right? It's like if you start going in there, if you start going like, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. I love Clerks and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't call them dude movies either.
Probably not.
Even though they are based around, friendships and comedy, and they are, predominantly male characters, in Clerks and, even Jay and Silent Bob. That's all it is.
That's true.
But I wouldn't classify it as a dude movie. I would just say it's a comedy, right? So, it all kind of for me revolves a lot around like that action. I guess there are people that probably want to be Jay and just like smoke weed all the time and all that kind of stuff. So for them, maybe it is.
Maybe, but, exactly. I think that might fall into the dude category kind of thing like that, right?
But for me, a lot of the characters are more sort of manly kind of men, or
right.
Some stuff that would kind of be on the fringe as well is things like Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
Pulp Fiction, I think, would be a dude movie, but
I feel it's a dude movie for sure.
It's a little bit on the edge there, though, right? And I guess it depends on what character you're looking at, right? So if you look at John Travolta's character, depends. If you look at
I feel like
Samuel L. Jackson's character,
definitely, because he's way badass.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then again, depending on the story, right? Because if you're looking at it through the eyes of like Mia Wallace, not a dude movie, but through the eyes of Samuel L. Jackson or Travolta, totally dude movie. Or if you look at it through the lens of what's one of the other? Well, the Bruce Willis character, same kind of thing, dude movie. These are guys that you want to kind of emulate. Like it's like that. So here's a thought then for you. And again, it's kind of a different one, but like, what about Gladiator?
Gladiator?
Yeah.
I don't like the film.
You didn't like it? Okay.
It's not my thing, man. It's,
interesting.
Yeah.
Because to me, he plays, again, it's lots of action. There's blood and guts, real strong leading man. There is no romance in it. Like, he doesn't necessarily get the girl.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think I'm going to spoil anything here because I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it. But you kind of want to be, like, he lives to that or portrays that sort of ultimate guy, right, like willing to sacrifice his life for what he believes in. So for me, that slides it into the category, even though it's like historical drama, action, adventure, and there is that drama element to it as well. But that character to me really pushes it over the top. But again, if you don't like the movie, it's like meh.
Right. Where I would say if you're going to look at something, kind of more period piece like that, I would say a movie like Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger would be more of a dude movie. It's a terrible movie.
It's a horrendous movie, but you're right. Dude movie. Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Max most definitely as well.
The entire series.
Yeah.
You'd say?
Yeah,
I would say. Well, even though
the last one maybe not so much, right? Focus. I mean, a great, phenomenal movie, really, really, really well done.
Right.
But it wasn't so Max centric. I felt.
No, it really wasn't. It was more focused on her.
Yeah.
And the struggle that she had, and then of course the ones chasing them in that entire massive chase down scene. But again, I think
I feel like I should be busting out a can of silver spray paint sprayed in my mouth
to
finish the last part of the podcast.
That would be amazing. Actually, no, because that would probably kill you.
Yeah.
What about things like it's funny because I'm even thinking about it now going, what about like Braveheart?
Right.
Again,
that kind of goes into the historical piece,
and drama and reenactment almost.
Yeah. Again, I feel that for me, and again, that's why the question at the beginning is what do you really define as a dude movie? To me, when you're talking about history and actual events, it's you're out.
Right.
You're out.
Okay.
You're out because it's not a fictional character. It's something that actually happened. Maybe you aspire to be like that. Most definitely. But
sure.
Your characters like your Jason Bournes, your James Bonds, and all that kind of
sure.
stuff are completely fictitious and completely unrealistic.
Well, in that case, then if we're going to go down that rabbit hole, or not go down that, but what's the one with Tom Cruise? Obviously, Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
dude movie for sure.
Yeah, except I hate Tom Cruise.
I'm not a huge fan either, but there are some things he's pretty good in. Yeah. I will give him that.
He always comes across Top Gun,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give him that.
Yeah.
So he gets one.
Okay.
In my books, everything else like Mission Impossible. And I know people love those movies. Like people love those movies.
Love the movies.
And I don't know if it's because of just how squeaky clean Tom once was, and that when I was growing up, seeing him in things like Risky Business, that kind of put him for me, where he sort of occupied, right? So when he moved into that larger action role, it's
right.
like, that's just a fucking guy sliding across the floor in his underwear,
right.
like lip syncing, like he's a douche, he's like, that's not him.
That's funny. Well, because he really reinvented himself. But in the same vein, and again, it's going to be a Tom Cruise series, but the Jack Reacher series.
All right. Yeah.
I would say 100% dude movie.
Probably,
action adventure.
But
I don't know
if
you've
you've
seen it. You're not going to watch it. You don't like Tom Cruise. Okay, so get out of that one. How about Will Smith?
Will Smith. Yeah.
Like Men in Black or
Independence Day.
Dude movies,
yeah,
for sure. The one that he just did, it was on Netflix. I think it's called Night or Nightwish, something like that. And he plays, it's like future alternate reality Earth.
Okay.
So there's some cool gadgets and tech and whatnot, but like elves, orcs, and people all live together in this future LA. And he's paired, so he's a human cop.
So Men in Black in the future?
I don't know. It was a weird concept and a strange movie, but it was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. Lots of action, lots of adventure, shooting, explosions, car wrecks, that kind of thing. But him and his partner, the partner's an orc.
Yeah.
So they don't like each other.
Right.
By the end, they come to
I think I've
respect
seen trailers
each other.
for it, yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's worth a watch.
Yeah.
I think, again, it maybe sits right on the edge of dude movies, per se.
Right.
I can tell you one Will Smith movie that's not going to be a dude movie is Aladdin.
Yeah. Yeah, the blue genie thing.
I don't know if you've seen the backlash. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
People going like...
it's just not something that I typically watch anyway, so I don't play a ton of it. Like, I mean, if you want to talk about Disney movies for a minute, it's just all part of the Disney MO. They're moving kind of to this CGI / live action thing.
Yep.
They've done it with Jungle Book. They've done it with a couple other movies. That's kind of where they're pushing now. I mean,
sure.
They've done the full animation thing. They've got that whole back catalog.
Yep.
They kind of went to the whole CGI kind of Pixar look for some stuff as well. So I mean, they just reinvent their own wheel over and over.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, they know the formula.
Yeah.
they know what works, what sells,
Yeah.
and what's going to make them $1 gazillion.
The bad thing for Will Smith, I will say this, is that he will be compared to Robin Williams in that role.
Oh, 100%. And there's no way
he's going to be able to do it because, number one, it was an animated thing, and two, Robin Williams was just completely... with those, that was a role that was created for that man. Like he's just, that's something that, his ad lib and his ability to just kind of go on and talk and be fast and, really, kind of witty and all that kind of stuff. Like,
that
he
was
won't
him.
even compare.
I don't think they wrote the role. I think they just invited him to the studio and then
just
animated what he did.
Here's a microphone.
Yeah, talk for a little while. Well, that goes back to, and it's not a dude movie at all, but goes back to Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah.
Most, if not all, of those radio broadcast scenes were just him.
Yeah.
They were like, "Here's the mic. You're on the radio. Go."
Yeah, and it was a phenomenal,
phenomenal movie, phenomenal role.
Yeah.
Good movie. Not a dude movie.
No,
but definitely a good movie. Apocalypse Now. What do you think?
Yeah.
Not a dude movie, right?
Not really. A little
good movie.
Over the edge.
It's a little over the edge and a little crazy.
Yeah.
What other modern movies was I just thinking about? Okay, so Star Treks. What do you think about that? Sorry.
It's there'll be elements within it, but
I don't think it's a dude movie. It's definitely sci-fi, and it's a completely different genre.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of goes out. So if you take that, so let's go back. That being the extreme of sci-fi. So let's talk about things like The Fifth Element.
I would say dude movie.
Yeah.
Again, you got Bruce Willis. You got a certified bona fide action star.
Yeah.
It is sci-fi, but the sci-fi moves the story. It's not
right.
Like the sci-fi is in spite of the story, if you know what I mean. Like it's not the thrust.
Yeah.
So for me, it still works, and you've got that journey that he goes on, and upholding justice and saving the universe, that kind of thing.
And it's a bit over the top. Like
plus Mila Jovovich, come on.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of that comedy in it as well. It doesn't take itself 100% serious as a sci-fi.
Now here's interestingly enough, the director from that, he's a French guy. I can't remember his name. Anyway, so that director apparently is rebooting Dune.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which will be very interesting because he's very that visual style that he has for The Fifth Element. And there's a few other movies that he's done as well that also have that very textured sci-fi, rich colors, amazing costuming, whatever else. But if he brings that same look, aesthetic, and feel to like the Dune reboot, I think it could be killer.
Yeah.
Not going to be a dude movie, I don't think. That's like hardcore sci-fi.
So we got Star Trek. Okay. Ultra inclusive, so not a dude movie, very wide, broad, aliens from all over the world.
Sure.
You've got Fifth Element, bona fide action star, a little bit comedic, it's got a little bit of that tongue in cheek in there.
Yeah.
What about something like Blade Runner? Or is
that's a hard one. I say it's still too hardcore sci-fi to be a broadly accepted dude movie.
I would agree. It's a great movie, don't get me wrong.
Killer movie. Yeah. One of the best.
And
the reboot that they did with Ryan Gosling was actually really good.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the very rare times that a sequel equaled or possibly even surpassed the original.
Yeah.
That's just a personal opinion, but I really enjoyed it. I think the remake is a little closer to what a dude movie would be versus the hardcore sci-fi of the original, but I still don't think it qualifies.
Yeah.
And then in that case, you look into like bona fide action stars and things getting out of the Star Wars universe, because I would put that very similar to Star Trek.
Star Trek.
But like something like Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford.
I would say the first one, dude movie.
Yeah. Subsequents, maybe not so much. Crystal Skull is just garbage, so who cares?
Yeah, definitely. The first two, I would definitely say dude movies, right?
Right.
The first one specifically because you're getting introduced to the character. He's going in there. He's kind of your everyday I'm your everyday, archaeology teacher. I teach at a university. All these girls love me because I'm a handsome guy.
Yeah.
And I do all this badass stuff. That's how you get introduced to Jones. And for that reason, I would say, he kind of falls in that.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think it's a hardcore.
The second one, because him and the main female lead, I can't remember her character name or the actress's name, just because he's that chauvinist kind of, kind of thing going on. And, again, it just kind of plays into that dude
I think
thing.
it definitely does. Yeah, The Last Crusade, maybe not so much. It's a little bit
that's more of a buddy movie,
right?
Slash. I didn't know
Father-son
I didn't know I had a kid. Like.
Well, it's interesting too because you mentioned the sort of chauvinistic way that he deals with the leading lady in Temple of Doom. And it's not something I picked up on until I was like in my 20s, maybe even my late 20s. But I never realized Indiana Jones was a period piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like watching movies as a kid, you don't really know. You're just like, oh, it's a cool movie or it's fun or whatever. But I didn't realize until, 20 years ago, whatever. But I didn't realize for 15 or 20 years of watching it because, it's on TV as a kid. Yeah. They used to show them all the time. But I never realized that it was set in the 30s.
Yeah.
And into the 40s. And then, of course, all the jokes about, fucking Nazis, like in the third one or whatever else. And I'm like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Little things like that when you rewatch movies as a full-grown adult with a real brain, how much better and richer movies actually are.
Yeah.
Okay, so other Harrison Ford movies. Harrison Ford's an interesting one, and I wonder if this might play into the qualification for a dude movie in the first place, because we talked about a certified leading man or a certified action star being really the linchpin for the whole thing, right? Harrison Ford's got one of those faces where he's always making an interesting expression.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so much just his action, like his acting style, or if it's actually just the way he is. But anytime you watch a Harrison Ford movie, he always looks like he's thinking or about to do something amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
I wonder if that's part of it. I'm trying to think of a good example, but like, could a leading lady, like a certified action star. So Wonder Woman, the one with Gal Gadot, dude movie?
No.
No? Why not?
It's no, it's just not. I think it's a phenomenal, strong female lead. I think if if you have the female dude movie, like that women are going to gravitate to because you have a strong female lead,
right?
That is absolutely
for sure, absolutely
it.
But as like a hardcore, like
I don't think any dudes are going to associate like I want to be Wonder Woman.
Fair.
That's kind of where it loses that for me.
Okay.
Like I said, great film. She's fantastic. Great action. It's entertaining, funny. But it just kind of the Amazonian kind of thing. Doesn't and most guys are they're not watching going, man, I could wish
wish I could be that.
I wish I could be her. There might be some, but the vast majority of guys are watching that, and man is like, I wish Wonder Woman would beat the living shit out of me. Kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's an interesting point then too. Is maybe I would say that like superhero movies and like the whole Marvel universe and whatnot may not qualify at all into the dude movies, with the exception of possibly Iron Man, because I feel like. He's on the cusp, right? I mean,
if you look at Stark's character, he's close. Like he's close. I think he's still kind of in that superhero thing,
right?
He's a chauvinist.
Yep.
He's an egomaniac. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Everybody kind of, he's got a lot of money. He's larger than life. So in that aspect, if you want to talk about characters, right?
Right.
I mean, there's definitely, I would say, dude characters. Tony Stark is, Iron Man is a dude character.
Right.
Harrison Ford as Han Solo is a dude character.
Right.
But I wouldn't consider either of those dude movies, right?
Right.
Even some of the things like Guardians of the Galaxies, right?
Right.
Thor, they're dude movies, or they have dude characters, right?
Right. Dude characters, but not necessarily dude movies.
Not dude movies as a whole, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I think that entire genre is kind of, again, it's kind of its own thing. Definitely enjoyable. Definitely can be quite cool. Although, to be perfectly honest, I feel it's a little bit played out at this point. I mean, it's been 15 or 20 years of like
it's been such a wealth of stories. I mean, the big problem I find with film is that sometimes it's hard, for them to get great stories that they want to tell. And, comics, once they got the formula down, because there was a lot of superhero movies that were good, but not great.
Right.
And people love the characters already. People are already,
Well, there's a
before you
huge
even step
buy-in.
foot
Yeah.
into a theater, you love Batman or Superman, being some of the earlier superheroes. You
For
already
sure.
love those things. They didn't necessarily translate very well,
No,
especially, Batman, Superman, Christopher Reeves, while not my favorite character in the world, was reasonable, right? I mean,
Right.
he's such an extreme kind of, super being that it, kind of doesn't really matter in a lot of ways. But,
Right.
As you got into some of the other ones, they tried with, things like Blade, which did okay.
Yep.
Didn't have a huge thing. But once they got that formula right with the Avengers, then they really kind of, it's like,
Well, now we
okay,
know what we need to do.
Now we know what we need to do, and now we know how do we bring all these people in, and we know how all this kind of stuff, and it just kind of, really, really works. The problem is that, it's been done, and then you've got all the spin-offs, from, the Avenger movies. You've got your Black Panthers, Captain Americas.
Yeah.
You've got, your Guardians of the Galaxies. You have all these kind of, sub-storylines. But, I mean, it's very comic-esque.
Yeah, very comic-esque and very... It's getting to the point where they're so self-referential now that if you've missed a movie, you're not going to get like half the jokes and half of the plot of the new movie that you're watching.
Yeah.
So I find that it's a bit of a detriment to that entire genre.
Anyway, and they're digging deep now too, right? So they've got Captain Marvel coming out.
Yeah.
They're going down. Ant-Man. I don't know how he got a film of his own.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
I mean, all these things have integral roles in that universe, but it's they're not comic books. They're films, and you got to invest a lot more time. A
ton of time and money.
It doesn't take a lot of time to flip through a comic book every month or so,
Right.
and keep up with
They're
the story.
fast reads,
But to sit down, watch 2-3 hours of superhero.
Well, and that's
movie.
one of the reasons why I haven't watched so many of them, because it's a huge time commitment. And I'm just like, there's whole sections of that universe I've not even seen because I'm just like, I don't.
And if you haven't, in all fairness too, if you haven't read a lot of the comics,
well, and that's it.
Then you're not, like I said, that familiarity of the characters. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, when that first came out, because I used to do a lot of Rocket Raccoon inks, and I know that character very, very well. I had his own book. I was kind of like, I don't know how they're going to do this, to be honest, right? And I was a little scared, right? Because I mean, I like Rocket Raccoon as a character, comic book wise, but they've seemed to do it well. But most definitely, that whole Marvel, universe thing, even though Black Panther's up for an Oscar, are not dude movies at all.
No, I wouldn't consider it a dude movie. How about something like Tombstone?
Westerns, I would say yes.
I would say like that's the ultimate classic dude movie is a Western.
And I was going to say that, like, I mean, I remember times like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. My uncle, that's his dude movie. Clint Eastwood is his dude.
Right.
Because he's a badass, and, things like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly were the things, like, it's like you have to watch, like, I don't know how many times my uncle made me watch The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Right.
So definitely along those lines, Tombstone, definitely.
For sure.
I guess that brings up the question of the one with Emilio Estevez and
Blazing Saddles.
Not Blazing Saddles.
That's a comedy. That's totally not a dude movie. Funny movie, but not what we're talking about.
Who was it? It had all sort of the guys from the 19.
Well, yeah, it was like Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland. I think was in it. And you're right. It was not Blazing Saddles.
It was Blaze of Glory.
Blaze of Glory.
It was the song for it, but it wasn't
from Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that movie.
Yeah. So those guys, like, is that a dude movie? Like,
I don't know, because I felt like that movie specifically was more of like a wink and a nod to the classic Western, but it wasn't really on its own.
Yeah.
Here's one for you, and I bet a lot of it didn't make a huge wave and a ton of money, but I remember watching it as a teenager going, these guys are my dudes.
Yeah.
Was Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Yeah, that's an interesting. That was kind of the last, I think, good film for. Now I'm gonna forget his name too, because they had Don Johnson.
And
Man, we're
killing
missing. I know.
Boy, we're really prepared for this podcast. But yeah, no, exactly. I know what you mean. Well, he had like that massive car accident shortly after that, and had to have like facial reconstruction surgery and all sorts of stuff, and then went into boxing, and then of course he had that killer comeback with the wrestling movie, The Wrestler, which I would say killer movie, great drama, not a dude movie. No, but very cool movie, and he was definitely a dude for sure. Yeah. But yeah, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, I would definitely clock up there because again, the action was weird and it was kind of but it was that late '80s, early '90s.
I feel it's such a poke at branding as well, right?
Oh, definitely.
You know, it's kind of one of those weird things like Marlboro, which is sort of the '80s. Rugged man advertisement was kind of their thing. It's like you're smoking a Marlboro, you're riding a horse, you're the nod to the westerns, and
for sure,
definitely that character Harley Davidson, of course, sort of that biker personality,
Mickey Rourke.
Rough, Mickey Rourke. There we go. He's I feel that was his last kind of other than The Wrestler, kind of his last big thing there. I mean, he was a difficult.
Well, he was
actor.
on his way up.
Yeah.
Right.
But he was difficult to work with too.
Apparently.
So
I don't know from experience.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, I've never worked with him either. So, but I think that was his big kind of thing. But again, at that time, a manly man. He definitely got launched in. I think was 9.5 weeks was kind of his big launch in.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because of the one scene.
What about and of course veering off because it's not necessarily a movie, but like again bringing up like Kiefer Sutherland, like what about something like 24? I've never actually seen the series. I have no idea, but I'm thinking I'm like, oh,
did they make a movie on that?
I don't know if they made a movie. But
I watched the show a little bit. It's good. I mean, I like Kiefer Sutherland. If you want to talk about dude movies and Kiefer Sutherland, I would say Lost Boys. Yeah. But it's kind of on that cusp of being like the horror,
campy horror, right?
Yeah, a little too comedic. Yeah, they're
right?
vampires. But I mean, his character in that is like a very dudeable character, right? Other than being a vampire and like, eating people and stuff. But and definitely that was more a teen kind of movie,
like a teen idol kind of movie, right? Or like not an idol, but like a teen.
Yeah, focus definitely on a younger demographic, right? Whereas this day and age, like I still like the film, I'd still watch it, but I think for a dude to sit down and grab a beer, like okay, let's watch the Lost Boys. Kind of you might get your man card revoked. You never know.
Right. That's funny. Well, it's interesting because I've got some buddies that we get together, maybe not every year, but every couple of years, we'll get together, we'll drink beers, watch snacks, and we watch Airheads.
Yeah.
Which to me, because of the association and the time, like because it brings my friends together and we have beers and we laugh and whatever else, to me that's a dude movie. Yeah. But I think it's not really. I think it's more of a comedy.
So all those friends, just to get a better picture, they're all musicians.
Yeah.
So okay, I think for, and I had an inkling of that. I think maybe for musicians, that's most definitely a qualifier there. For a group of musicians, that's probably a dude movie, right? Because those guys, and again, I don't think I'm spoiling anything here. You're like breaking into a radio station to get your song played on the radio. Like that's a very dude thing to do for a band.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
And definitely, kind of plays into that. So I think if you're a group of musicians and you're all dudes and that's your dude movie, that I think that qualifies. But that's kind of again like a little subgenre.
Yeah, a little subgenre. I think it could, the definition of a dude movie, depending on your group of friends and the time of, not necessarily time of day, but like time of year and whatnot. It could also shift. Yeah. Right. Depending on what you're trying to get out of the said movie. I think there is that overarching definition, like we've sort of tried to nail down. But again, because of those certain things, those certain circumstances, you could shift it. I'm trying to think of like another example that I could think of, and I don't really have. Well, so I wouldn't be a dude movie, but there's The Room by Tommy Wiseau.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's universally panned, and then at the same time universally celebrated as the worst movie ever made. Right. It's like it is the what are they? It's the Citizen Kane of bad movies,
Right.
is kind of what people call it.
Gotcha.
But I might class that as a dude movie because it brings people together. You watch it, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
There is that sense of camaraderie that it builds, even though the characters are not anywhere close to being dudes or doodly or any good action, or it's bad.
Yeah.
But it might qualify under that broader sense of community building.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it definitely depends on where you're centered, right? I mean,
right.
Going back to, some of the early examples like the James Bond, if you think that's
universal dude movie for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But, if you're not, if you don't think that womanizing is a big thing, or drinking scotch or playing poker or gadgets, or kind of, it's not your thing, right?
It might
not be for you, right?
Yeah.
And that's, there's definitely that continuum, but, I think it's hard to argue that, James Bond is not kind of a man's man,
right. Well, this might be a good time to ask for viewer response or listener response. Log on to the YouTube channel, leave us a comment, because we're obviously I'll have this clipped up, but leave us a comment there, or send us an email, leave us a comment on the podcast page.
What's your dude movie?
What's your dude movie?
And why? Really?
Yeah.
Because we've hit on some, some people, like yourself, you being a Trekkie, a lot of, Trekkies will maybe say, like, guys like Captain Kirk, like he's
definitely
the dude.
He's
got the womanizing, of all sorts of races. And
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Christopher Pike, even as Kirk, they did a good job.
Yeah.
They really did, casting him. Like, they found a good actor, but B, somebody that really does look like Bill Shatner. Enough to evoke that young Captain Kirk. Anyway, I digress. I'm getting off topic, but I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up for today.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting one. Thanks for taking the time to watch another episode of the Dudecast. This has been all about dude movies. So, like we said, leave us a comment, find us somewhere, let us know what you think. Yep. I've been Nick.
I'm JD.
We'll see you soon.